It's time for Milberger's Gardening South Texas, live from Milberger's Landscaping and Nursery at 1604 in Bulverde Road. During the next 2 hours, our experts will help you with your gardening questions when you call 210-308-8867. That's 210-308-8867. Or come by Milberger's during the show and have your question answered in person. And now it's time for Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to another Saturday show. This is Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. This is Alex Escobar here with Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. 210-308-8867. A nice sunny day. It's always a nice day when it's nice and sunny.
Has he sits here with us?
With his hand.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Milberger's South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Apologies for the technical difficulties. I'm going to go ahead and blame it on the cold weather that we're having. I'm Alex Escobar here with Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. 210-308-8867.
We've also got David Rodriguez
here.
Okay,
that's better.
Yes, we also have David Rodriguez, who just finished hosting the
annual fruit tree seminar here at Milberger's Landscape Nursery. We started right at 10. I think we were scheduled to 11, but we just finished it a little while ago. When I drove up this morning, I know these guys are getting ready for the cold spell, and different than 2 weeks ago. It looked like springtime out here,
Absolutely,
right?
it did.
And so I know these guys are working their tails off trying to get everything covered and protected. And
it's amazing how fast they can do it.
Well, it's I don't miss those old days doing this kind of work. And the
that's right. You were
for years. And
for Wolf.
The greenhouse, they always do an excellent job here at Milberger's Landscape Nursery with the house plants. They have an excellent of not only beautiful indoor houseplants, but floral. But, man, every corner and underneath the benches, the tender Carolina jasmines in there in full bloom, and pansies. And so and I was only trucked this morning and when I got here, and then we had a few people show up, and Peter gave some professional development for some of the employees because, fruit trees is a big thing, and Milberger's always does an excellent job selling all the correct varieties of fruit and berries and grapes. And
well, did you notice in there everything. They had a bunch of the old rodeo tomatoes too?
Rodeo tomatoes, yeah, all the good ones. Pot them up, and so we thank Mark Peterson. Thank you for bringing my flyers. We have a little hiccup at the office in our new office.
You said that last week, and I went, well, I have some. So,
thank you so much.
So I was a little late. I was about 5 minutes late, but it didn't matter.
Perfect timing. Perfect time. We added a few of those, like the Southern Sensation Seedless Grape and a couple others on there. So I think it went very well. Told them they have some inventory just outside the greenhouse, and maybe get a house plant. I think they purchased more house plants today than fruit trees, so they're on their way out. But they'll be back, and the listeners that are listening right now as well. But great, good amount of crowd. It's kind of crazy that I've done a couple talks on fruit trees and house plants. The weather like this, and I think last year we did house plants. We had a lot of people show up for that one as well. So it went well. And welcome aboard, Alex. These guys treating you well?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Okay. So it went well.
We're not teasing them too badly.
No.
Yeah.
Well, David it's appropriate that he's here because the article today we talk about the rodeo tomato, and we used of course, David is a prominent member of the team that selects the rodeo tomato, and we mentioned his name in there. And
thank you.
Of course, we mentioned too that the name is weird.
Well, the name of the rodeo tomato. He's looking at me. It's like, my name's weird? No. The rodeo tomato.
Mark
weird.
Peterson.
Yeah. Ugh, that would be a one.
Well, how we want to pronounce that? Polbig?
Polbig.
Polbig.
So it's from Poland. The breeder selected in Poland, And it's been around a while, and then it made it to the Carolinas, California, Florida, even the Valley in Texas here. And so it's been around. So the breeder decided to call it Pole because it's Polish. It's a big, medium to size, large tomato. So Pole Big.
So, yeah, you want to spell it?
It is a unique name.
Yeah, you want to spell that?
P-O-L-B-I-G.
Okay.
Did Calvin spell it right here?
Yeah, he did. He
Check
did.
here.
I'm just doing it for our listeners.
So it's, we try to look at these things locally and around the state at the Uvalde Center and other places and Master Gardener Associations. Ideally 3 years, 5 years, and then we try to collect all the data, look at the seed availability. We lost one of our premier growers here in our backyard, so we're bringing them out of Schulenburg, and we said Polish, so the Hujay is Czech, Chudej, Hujay, and they're out of Schulenburg, so he's stepping up to fill a lot of the gap. Royce and the boys, his family, thank you. And I'm so happy that he's really on board. Because we got a lot of traditions here, and we want to keep them on the right track as best as we can. So he's doing it. So thank you,
Alex. I think we need to take a road trip out to Schulenburg.
Absolutely, I think we should.
Okay.
Yeah, wait till spring, not now. I think everything's covered.
Well,
I think they're really busy too.
David prepared a nice write-up for the selection, the Pole Big, and in it he mentioned that a lot of folks will think it's the best tasting rodeo tomato.
And there's a little caveat on there that says tasting is unique and everything like this, but subjective.
Yeah.
And but you thought this was one of the best ones. And I can't wait to taste it.
But I didn't say that I ever ate it. That you might. It might be the best tomato you've ever grown and tasted.
Okay.
I'm not saying Calvin. I'm not saying David.
How you advance.
It might be you.
I see how you advance through the levels
It'll
of
have
the
to be really
university system. So, how tactful and diplomatic you are.
It'll have to be really good to be better than Ruby Crush.
Ruby Crush is a home run.
Yeah, pretty outstanding.
But you know that Hujay brought, and it's true to type, he got 968 tomato back on the market.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're very happy about that.
I kind of put those, they don't taste the same, Ruby Crush and 968.
That's correct.
But they're both outstanding. If you can grow both of those in your garden, and to me the 968 has got a little more tart, a little firm.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Yeah. But gosh, they're both outstanding, and they're both easy to grow.
Right.
So determinate, and respond
for
well
kids.
to our conditions.
Great for kids to grow.
Yeah.
Well,
gosh.
We grow them at all these
Not
youth
just
gardens.
kids.
Adult kids.
I've told you the story of my mother, who I'd wheel out in her wheelchair, and her job was to pick them. And of course, it took her an hour to eat everything she could, and then before she started picking them. But that was her one of her favorite traditions.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And when we get up, everyone at any age or capacity, gardening's good, and we've seen that over the years. And I tell the kids when the youth programs, I thought y'all guys picked these last week. We did, sir. We did. Because they're so, when they get into production.
They're prolific, yes.
Big time.
Well, David, we've scheduled 2 rodeo classes.
Oh, nice.
The first one is on the 21st here at Millburgers.
Okay.
We've already got 16 people that have called in to register.
That's good.
The first 35, we'll give them a free potted up rodeo tomato, and then the second class.
So they they pot it up, or y'all have it potted up for them?
Well, we usually try to have a few that aren't potted up, so if there's young people there,
demonstrate how to do it.
Yeah, we can show them the process.
That's
because that's one of the important issues in the potting up, the rodeo tomato situation, and the potting up is it's too. Of course, this year it's pretty obvious that it's too cold to plant. Plant in the garden. And
2 weeks ago, I think some people might have planted some tomatoes in the garden 2 weeks ago.
That's right. Well, we were harvesting, and in fact, I mentioned in the article that I was still harvesting tomatoes yesterday from the
Winter
fall.
tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They did pretty well. They were a little slow, but to get going. But
Yes.
we were able to harvest a bunch. But that's the whole process. And the rodeo tomato. It's kind of we've explained that issue of why we have to keep identifying new tomatoes.
Well, availability is the challenge, plus tomatoes still the number one vegetable that everybody wants to try or plant, and just horticulture excitement too, right?
Yeah.
Get them to try something.
And we're kind of
different.
at the mercy of commercial
That's correct.
tomato
That's
producers.
correct. You know, celebrity is still the champion for many years, and tycoon's still holding tight. But as soon as you unfortunately put one out, next year they look for it and you can't find it. So that's always been the challenge. Yeah.
So
and there's so many good ones we've done put out there. You know,
Yeah.
on the list: Merced, Surefire, Sunpry.
Oh, I forgot
You know,
Merced.
yeah.
That's another one
You know,
on Calvert's list.
Yeah. So there's sometimes a challenge, right? You know. So
we will. Mark and I will probably describe the potting up process and what's the important features of it. But it's also in the Express News column.
good.
If you want kind of an account of what we do or why we do the potting up and why it's an important issue. You know, one of the things is, of course, the weather is. I mean, it's just too cold to plant tomatoes in March usually, and so we pot them up and then get them in the garden. And you know, David's a little more optimistic than I am. He generally plant March after the middle of March. I've gotten more conservative now, and April 1st is my target.
Well, big plants, big cages, anchored cages, and they insulate. The insulate makes them mulch and roll, but don't overwater.
Which we have here. We have lots of insulate.
Yes.
But yeah, that's quite a process. I remember, was it last year or the year before when I talked about, you know, you put the potted up tomatoes in the sun out of the wind, and if it's a forecast to be below 45, David says, or 40, then you got to get them into a warm area. And that was, I wish I hadn't said that, because I filled half my house with those rodeo tomatoes last year.
But last year was a real roller coaster ride.
That's
really
correct.
erratic weather.
That's correct.
And hoping that
Knock
we don't
on
have
wood,
it.
huh?
Yeah. Hoping we don't have it this year.
Yeah.
I don't mind the cold. I don't mind the warm.
just look at
but
2
I don't
weeks
want
ago.
it 1 week one and 1 week the other. So
You know, the other thing, Mark, you and I have talked about this time of this growing season, this spring growing season. Quite often, we're our favorite tomato varieties, especially when we had to when we were relying on the rodeo tomato being sold at the rodeo. You had to, if you wanted to get your favorite varieties, your celebrities or your tycoons or anything, you had to get them right then.
That's correct.
And you couldn't just wait.
That's correct.
Several times I've waited for, I'll just get them next week, you know, and I can plant them.
Yeah, I remember.
They're all
yeah.
done next week. Yeah. So that's part of the process too. But go ahead and read that article in the San Antonio Express News.
Very nice.
And I don't know if it's in the Austin American Statesman. I think it probably, if it's not today, it will be.
If it's not, it will be.
And then we'll talk about it today, and if you have any questions, give us a call. Alex, what's our number here that they can call us?
They can call us at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867.
And that's also, well, you can call the number to register for that first class on the 21st. That's Saturday the 21st at 10:30 a.m. here at Millburgers.
Yes, the number.
Or the other number is 210-382-4455 for the class that's on February 28th. That's at 10:30 a.m., and that's at the Education Resource Center.
It's at 10, so you
o'clock.
you can get back over here. That's the only way I can remember it.
Very good.
David, any other issues? Master Gardeners?
Like to share with you guys and the listeners out there. Last couple of weeks, we've moved into our Bexar County Greenies Urban Farm. Commissioner,
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it looks nice, Calvin. 12 years in the making. Commissioner Tommy Calvert's been the champion. It is a county facility, so it's open for all the citizens, precincts of folks in the county of Bexar. Very, very nice facility. So Monday through Friday, it's open to the public, right? Because it's a county facility.
Describe the general location of it.
35 in Walters. 35 in Walters. So you have right where the rodeo grounds is, North New Braunfels, all that area. One side of Walters is the entrance to Fort Sam, Houston, and the other is just lightly in the inside of the east side over the bridge to the right, right on the backside of the railroad tracks and behind the Young Men's Academy. And it's 10 acres. We've been very uncertain on planting. We already put Irish potatoes directly in the ground. So I think they'll be okay with moisture, and we didn't overwater them, so they're not popping. So and then we did seeds like beets and lettuce and snow peas and things like that. But if it's seed, I don't think the seeds are gonna. We covered onions. We planted a lot of onions.
Did you?
So I covered the onions, but I don't think the rest would be damaged. So we're gonna do a lot of planting, edibles, herbs, ornamentals. Larry and I are going to work on the fruit orchard out there. Got a lot of nice ornamentals, mainly Texas Superstars for the landscape. We have 4 big water canisters for rainwater off the roofs. That's educational. Molly Keck and I will be doing bees in April. We just we'll be hiring a new urban agriculture agent. Sam Womble moved to Kerrville. And focusing on this backyard home gardener. Chickens, ducks, rabbits,
did I hear
goats.
That Mark's going to do one of his features?
Yeah. We'll get it. But, it's going to take 3 to 5 years to really get it where it needs to be.
At Mark's age, you don't want to wait 3 to 5 years.
But we're planting. We're planting and getting it going.
So I remember last week.
It looks nice. Very pretty.
Last week, and you and I know who it is. He said Larry.
Dr. Stein, Larry Stein.
And I wanted everyone to know, Dr. Stein, fabulous fruit nuts specialist.
I think 44 years doing this.
Well, we mentioned him in the column.
Yeah,
too.
we mentioned him in the column, and that's
44 years. How old are you, Alex?
I'm only 29.
Look at that.
He's been doing it for
44 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Larry's extremely knowledgeable and very personable and does great presentations.
Now, wait a minute. Is this the same Larry I know?
Yeah, it is the same Larry you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Now
he'll be just like totally blushing right now because he doesn't take compliments real well.
So the main thing.
Yeah, no, he sometimes his interest in urban issues is a little less than his interest in rural issues.
But he's playing both sides of the field now. It's all good. It's all good.
What is it, Alex? Have you got a problem? Alex is raising his hand.
Yes, we got to take a break. I appreciate you, David.
Oh, no, thank you, guys, and stay warm, please.
Absolutely,
David,
you too.
You gotta go, because we're going to take a break.
Adios,
we're going to take a break real quick. We're going to have Brian on the line right afterwards.
That tomato for us.
Thank you, David. We'll be right back with Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Again, this is Alex Escobar with Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. We're going to thank David for being out here earlier, give us some information about the class that he just did about the fruit trees and as well as the rodeo tomatoes.
Yeah, we got a couple of big issues to talk about. The rodeo tomato was one, but the other was, in case you haven't noticed, this the wintertime out there.
It's been cool.
It has been cool.
And it's going to get a little colder. So we've got that to deal with.
Yeah. I noticed the wind is just kind of wafting out of the north.
Absolutely.
And it is cold. I mean, it feels cold.
It is very cold. Hopefully everyone's staying warm and inside. We have a caller right now. We have Brian on the line. Brian, I hope you're staying warm out there. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay. About a month ago, I put out some Riley St. Augustine grass. And so I was planning to put some compost on it, but is there anything else I need to do? And I live northwest of San Marcos.
Say again now.
You had laid it out.
Yeah,
the sod all properly, I suppose. So now you're going to put some compost on it.
Yeah.
You're going to, generally February we're almost there.
Yeah,
so this is the appropriate time. Are you going to aerate it first, or?
No, because it's new sod.
Yeah, it's new sod. So I'm thinking the roots aren't fully down there, particularly this time of year. So I would, but aeration is very important, as Calvin mentioned on that. So putting in the compost,
how deep?
Yeah, there you go. That's the question I was going to go.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
Oh, yeah. One of the issues is that we want a recommendation. We generally alert people not to put it too deep at this point. You want actually a real shallow,
right? So
half inch or
a quarter of an inch, and I never can figure out what a quarter of an inch, but half inch to a quarter of an inch is usually what the recommendation is.
And it's kind of a neat daydream kind of job. You don't have to be overly fussy, and it's good exercise. And certainly the lawn will respond to it. But there is a danger, especially on a new sod like that if you put too much, it won't be a positive impact on the sod.
Okay.
So be skimpy on the amount of compost. And even if you just leave the rest of it in a pile and next year do another one. You can't go wrong by that process.
You can't go wrong. You could even do a second application later on this spring. But, Calvin is correct.
Well, it's supposed to get down to 14 degrees, so I'm wondering if there's anything else I need to do to protect it from the cold.
No, I don't think so. I don't think on St. Augustine lawn. It is a warm weather native to the Gulf Coast. However, I don't think at this time of year and that you laid it down, I don't think there's going to be any problem with it.
Okay. All right.
It's fairly cold tolerant, in other words.
Have fun.
Okay. All right. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. 210-308-8867. I know before that we were talking about the rodeo tomatoes and
and the cold weather.
Yes.
We got on the rodeo tomatoes. I'll just remind everybody that's what the column is today in the Express News, and we've got 2 classes scheduled. The rodeo tomato gets chosen every year by the team led by David and other Extension Service experts. And the idea is to pick a tomato variety that will do well in our brief tomato season. We actually got two tomato seasons, and but for them to be successful, this tomato season, the rodeo tomato has to set fruit relatively quickly, and harvest it by the end of June is the target. time too. So you want a determinate or semi-determinate variety, and what that usually means or translates in terms of characteristics is that the plant gets to full size or to production size pretty quickly, and then concentrates on producing the fruit, rather than some in the old-fashioned heirloom tomatoes that just keep growing bigger and bigger until the conditions get where that doesn't encourage them to grow. And in the case in San Antonio, if you wait to do that, if you have that kind of variety, you just never end up getting any tomatoes because it just keeps growing.
It keeps growing, and then it actually reaches the vine state, and for certain heirloom varieties, and so you may reach all the way to November and get hardly any tomatoes off it.
And I made that point when David was here about the. I know a lot of gardeners always say, why do we keep introducing these new varieties? Well, what happens is that it's a very competitive market out there. The commercial tomato market, they're always trying to find a better selection and one that will meet the needs of especially the commercial industry. So what we have to do is be ready if they're going to drop. If they find a new one that's better than the ones that exist, they'll drop some of our favorite brands or varieties. So we got to be ready to have one that will do well in our conditions, and that's why the rodeo tomato process is so important. It's because David and his team keep looking for better tomatoes, or at least tomatoes that are as good as the ones we've been using, and it's kind of a neat process.
Yeah, and he mentioned the process of selection. It's actually a 3 to 5 year process where the commercial companies develop varieties, and then his team goes out and looks at the data and grows the plants and tastes the plants and looks at the fruit and what it's going to look like. So it is a long-term process. Meanwhile, we have the commercial companies coming and going with various seeds, and so it is a complicated process, which most people don't see from the outside.
Do you think we'll remember that name, Pole Big? Pole Big?
Oh man, that's right up there with Red Snapper. I can't remember.
Maybe it'll be easier than the numbered varieties. BHN 968.
Now the only way I can remember reminds me of the old Hee Haw episode with BRN. I can't remember. Junior Samples would mention something. So BNH.
BHN.
Yeah, that close. Yeah.
968. Well, that company that produces those BHN has a lot of successful varieties. They've appeared as rodeo tomatoes through the years, and the old it's no longer the case. I don't know if we'll ever go back to that, but in years past, we used to identify the rodeo tomato, and then that would be the first place that it would be available would be at the rodeo.
And so I think you and I have had some requests via the phone or text, and people wondering where they can get it.
Yeah.
And usually in the past, it's been only at the rodeo was the first place. They're making an effort to have some of the retail outlets have some at about approximately the same time.
Yeah, well, that's what we certainly will have. If you attend one of those classes that were mentioned, you get one free one, and then, of course, they'll be available at Millburgers and at the participating nurseries throughout the area.
We can't give you an exact day, but Peter has told me is they are booked and they are ready to come here when they become available.
And our team has filled the containers with the wonderful soil mix, fertilized them with Osmocote, so they're ready for action as soon as we get the variety.
For the listeners out there, with their copious amounts of Osmocotes.
And the idea there is that when they're in the pot with that fertilizer, and they're kept out of the wind in full sun, they will keep growing. They'll grow at a very fast rate. And so that's one of the advantages of potting up, is that they can take advantage of being access to fertilizer and not being subject to cold weather. But of course, if the temperature gets down below 45, then that will slow down the growth rate. So that one of the rules of success with potted up tomato is that you got to get it into a sheltered situation where the temperature is above 45 degrees, which quite often means either a greenhouse or your house or whatever.
Or your house.
Yeah, but it's an interesting process, and a successful process too. And through the years, we've had some of them are listed in the article. We've had a lot of great tomato varieties that everybody has one of their favorite.
Right. So I was somewhat surprised that David implied that this is going to be a good tasting one.
Actually, I didn't bring this up, but if I remember right, almost every year he says it's going to be a good taste.
Okay.
But
you look at the write-up and you see what they are looking for, what the team is looking for as a low acidic, sweet, about the same size, round, good dark color.
The photo in the Express News makes it look a little smaller than it is. It's actually a medium size. It's probably, I think, similar to the. What's our long-term favorite?
Celebrity.
Celebrity. That's right.
So yeah, that's I think it's going to be about that.
Yeah, same size.
What the written write-up was that you provided me last week.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be about that size, about a celebrity size.
So if you want to get, I mentioned that there are Milberger's has got tomatoes in the greenhouse right now. Some of those same rodeo tomato varieties that were mentioned in the article. But if you get those, you'll need to pot those up too, because they will. They won't die in 40-degree weather, but they just won't grow. They'll kind of harden off rather than keeping that peak growth rate. So that's one of the whole tricks of the.
Right. That's what we want to make sure people understand, that if they reach a certain cold temperature, they kind of secession. They cease growing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of almost permanent, isn't it?
It certainly slows down. Yeah. Now, one of the other things, if the potted up tomatoes, if you've grown up in or gardened in a rural area or relatively small town, you quite often. There'll be the picture of the first tomato harvested in New Braunfels or Pleasanton or like Mark in Michigan or May in Minnesota. Yeah. But that is always usually a potted up tomato. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of gardeners that rely on that potting up to be producing that first variety of tomato. The first harvestable tomato, and so that's another when you see that first one in your local newspaper, check it out, and you'll find that it's been potted up too.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going in my mind. I'm like thinking up. Oh yeah, usually in Ottawa or Ionia counties, that was always the big thing. So, yeah. So you brought back memories on that.
We'll also, in the article, we also talk about the planting potatoes and some of the other things we talked about. Onions.
Well, we talked about onions and potatoes in the article.
That sounds interesting.
And Crawford lettuce.
Yeah.
And we brought up, you remember Steve Brown, Alex, the weatherman from
Did you grow
KSAT?
up on KSAT? Tall
I
fella?
think so.
We did for years.
Yes,
I did a radio
That's
show.
right.
I mean, TV show with him on the his show. We would do gardening quite often, and one of his favorite plants was Crawford reseeding lettuce.
That's right.
Yeah, and by the time Steve retired, I noticed that the newspaper checked to see when he retired, 2018. The KSAT grounds were covered with Crawford lettuce, every crack in the sidewalk and every place the thing had grown, because it was an aggressive reseeder, and plus he encouraged it, and KSAT encouraged it
as
so
well.
that the lettuce can still be seeded too right now.
Very nice. Well, we're going to take a quick break right now. We'll discuss more about what's in the article. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. We're going to be right back with Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Welcome back to Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. We hope everyone out there is staying warm and safe, and more than likely just staying indoors. But speaking of that, it's cold. It's near freezing. We have some little rain droplets, some sleet around the city. What can gardeners and what can people be doing right now? Is there anything they can be doing outside, or should they just be staying indoors right now?
I'm having trouble hearing. Are you?
No, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We were just talking during the break on things to do.
Yeah. We had one of the questions was when Gardner called and asked about covering some of the plants that were growing, and the list included bluebonnets, poppies, and larkspur. And I think Mark and I both agree that probably would not cover any of those three, unless you maybe had a seed source, a special little small bed or something.
Yeah,
like the poppies, but.
Nah, and worry about them. This is their not first rodeo, so they should be able to handle it. No problem.
And we mentioned blue curl. The blue curl has started to germinate and grow all around. Even if the blue curl sometimes can be a little sensitive to cold, it might get a little damage on the foliage, or even if it dies back to the ground. There'll be more blue curl coming up because this is pretty early for it, and it is one of its amazing abilities is to germinate over a long period and bloom over a long period, both in sun or shade.
So I'm going to be protecting all my tropicals or subtropicals if I haven't already. Or I should say, if you haven't already, you should be protecting them. And I'll be doing that today. I'll be doing my citrus today.
I did my citrus yesterday, and I did kind of a tent-like structure on those, and then my mechanics light with a non-lead light bulb. To make sure if you got, in the old days we did the Christmas lights and the mechanics light, and we used the heat producing light bulbs, but you could easily end up with the non heat producing bulbs nowadays. So you got to kind of make sure that you're getting those. And one gardener told us, Mark, I think, didn't he, that they had found the the old-fashioned Christmas lights.
They had found them somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think he even knew the names of them. There were numbers associated with them, a C7 and a C9, and he knew them. He found them somewhere on the back shelf, and he scooped them up.
Yeah. So I did mine, and I turned the lights on, or the heat sources on this morning, even though it was not in freezing temperatures yet, but gosh, it felt cold, and then you always want to kind of check and make sure everything's working too, so that's good.
Well, I wanted a little bit of rain to fall on some of my stuff before I covered them. Well, I didn't get any rain.
Now,
a limited amount of rain.
Yeah, the newspaper reported that we had about a half an inch.
I didn't see it. Did you see a half an inch?
Yeah, I got some. Yeah, the last couple of days, I think the total was about a half an inch.
Well, then I was going to wait till after the show to do it, because I wanted to get a little rainwater on them.
You know, you and I talked a little bit too about the cyclamen. For years, I never covered my cyclamen, but the last few years I have. The problem with leaving the cyclamen out there, especially if you're going to have wind and cold, then if the blooms, the foliage is never damaged, but if the blooms get wiped out, it takes so long for new blooms to come back that, you know, it's the summer season, and then you're not going to have any blooms in cyclamen anyway. So just a Mark's favorite insulate cover put over cyclamen really makes a big difference. It protects that. If it doesn't protect that initial blooms, it protects that layer of bloom, the buds underneath. So that's a good process. And then, Mark, you did the citrus is always the top one to cover.
Yeah,
right?
and I have a true Arctic frost Satsuma, so I'm really worried about just the stems on it on that. So I'm covering the entire the major portion of the stem everywhere from the pot up all the way to the top, and so that's what I'm really looking at on that. But the reason I chose the Arctic frost is for its cold resistance. Mm-hmm. Now, did you see what it was going to be tomorrow?
I saw a 21.
Yeah, that's right. So, what does it usually say about the Satsuma? It's like, it's resist cold to 29. Well, if my arithmetic is correct, 21 is going to be lower than 29.
Yeah. And it depends on the forecast you looked at too. Some of them are optimistic, and some of them are pessimistic. And we're kind of
right in the middle,
right at the edge of that forecast. You know, I saw several forecasts where they say, you know, we may not get as bad as it sounds, but then the next one said, hey, we may get worse than the forecast because we're right on the edge, and it's a fluctuating kind of wave of air
system. Yeah.
So be interesting to see. And of course, once the damage is done, it's too late. So
that's true.
It's better to be a little conservative and go ahead and cover things if you've got the equipment and are ready for it.
Absolutely. 210-308-8867. We have Bert from Michigan on the line. Bert, how are you doing today?
I'm very fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you?
Oh, doing good. Trying to stay warm.
Yeah.
What's happening in Michigan, Bert? Is it a little cold there?
Yeah, I haven't looked but I think it's around 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Minus 16 or something.
Sounds absolutely
It sounds
balmy.
balmy.
Yeah.
Man, now you get me back. When I said that when it was so hot in San Antonio. Yeah. What I would like to say is for the heat source, when you cover your plants, and I still have those old-fashioned Christmas lights, but
Yeah.
I think you can also use the heat mats that you use for seedling trays. They're about, say, 2 feet long and 1 feet wide, and they get hand warm, but not too hot. You won't burn your plants, and maybe they can help somebody.
What is
Under
that?
the-
So these are the heat maps, heat mats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, heat mats. Sorry, my accent is from Holland.
So is that an issue if we get some serious rain? Would that be a problem or not? Can you keep it off the ground?
Yeah, I guess, but if you put that around your plants, you would cover the plants with a sheet or whatever you have to keep it warm under that sheet, more like a tent. If you would put Christmas lights on your plants, you would cover it too, wouldn't you? Yeah. But just leave it open to the air.
No,
it'd certainly be easier taking it down than Christmas lights are. Christmas lights are tough.
So you need an outlet for that.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you never know. Maybe somebody says, "Oh man, if I just had a heat source and heat lights, heat lamps or so, they are so strong they would cook your plant." I think.
Yeah, if you had. We used to use poultry heat lamps. There you got to be kind of careful because they produce a lot of heat. Not a problem as long as there's not anything close that'll burn.
Yeah,
but
that's correct.
That's why I like that mechanics light because you can kind of hang it on a citrus or wherever and it's got kind of a cover on it and protection from it, and and you're not changing the temperature a lot, but you generally, if it's not a huge plant, you can generally keep it above freezing in that tent that you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I thought I mentioned that maybe.
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah, everything is a good idea when we reach these temperatures. We don't often see these temperatures in San Antonio.
Oh. No.
Hey, Bert, I just got to tell you, I'm going to be after the show. I'm going to be soaking my split peas for my snack. I'm going to be looking for a nice wooden spoon standing straight up. So that's what I'm going to be looking forward to, sir.
All right.
That's an inside joke for us.
Where do you live again, precisely?
All right. Well, Bert, thank you again for calling. We got to take a break right now. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. We're going to be right back with Millburgers, Gardening, South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
We're back with Millburgers Gardening, South Texas, live from Millburgers Landscaping and Nursery at 1604 in Bulverde Road. Come out to visit or call us at 210-308-8867. That's 210-308-8867. And now back to Millburgers Gardening, South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Welcome back to Millburgers Gardening, South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Alex Escobar here with Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. We had Bert on the line earlier. He was giving us some tips for some heat sources for your plants in these cold, freezing temperatures. And I know we had some questions come in about covering certain plants like bluebonnets and some other choices, but are there certain types of plants that you don't really need to worry about covering?
And when some of the other plants that I think are pretty safe are pansies and violas. Snapdragons, usually you'll get the blooms will get affected, but the foliage won't, and they'll recover, and then we'll have a great bloom period in the spring. Let's see. stocks are about the same situation as the snapdragons. But cyclamen, you do probably want to, with these kind of temperatures and the winds, you probably want, if you can put that cloth over the fabric over the top of them and weigh it down so that the wind does not pick up and get under it, they should be fine. The bloom should survive. And, of course, the foliage, as we mentioned, the foliage is pretty invincible, too. But it does take a long time for the blooms to recover if they get wiped out.
I know we've talked about it.
That'll be
I
good.
mean, the cold temperature is bad, but it's the wind that does a major damage to a lot of plants and vegetables, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. We did mention that. Let's see. What do we 3 to 4 days are talking about are the cold weather that we'll be subjected to.
Cold and close to freezing temperatures these next few days.
After that, there's still time. We mentioned the potatoes, and of course, my favorite white potato is Kennebec, and then Pontiac is the red. That always is a very successful potato for. And in this area, Central Texas area, you can grow new potatoes. We generally don't try to grow large potatoes and store them. We generally utilize them. You can harvest those potatoes. Start harvesting potatoes the minute when those plants start blooming. Gosh, nothing better than a batch of new potatoes, new taters, man. Good stuff.
And hence the term new potatoes.
Yeah.
What we're saying is the smallish ones before they're fully ripe, if you will.
And you start
fully mature.
You can start harvesting when your plants get blooms, and then you want to, when the top's brown, you want to go ahead and harvest the rest. And we usually would add there, because you don't want the soggy soil to cause the rot of the potatoes. I don't remember when we've had soggy soil lately, but it will, if you've got a heavy soil, or we do have soggy soil, the potatoes will not last a long time once the plants decline. So that's a good one. And then the mentioned Crawford lettuce. We've got it here at Milberger's, Crawford lettuce. That's regrowing or reseeding lettuce. Very tasty, easy to grow.
Very easy to grow.
Yeah.
Almost too easy to grow.
Yeah, now on all lettuce seed, don't cover the seed. Just you prepare the soil and then put this lettuce seed on the top of the soil. Now we still got, and I think most nurseries still have lots of attractive lettuce, other than even Crawford lettuce. They've got.
Yeah, we had like 3 or 4 different varieties on that. But yeah, they're all planted here. I don't know whether you wanted me to do it or you to do it. We're sharing coffee right now, and
trying to stay warm.
Trying to stay warm on that. But so they're all protected right now. All the vegetable transplants. So, but we still have, and you can still do it. Greens, you can still do.
If you can find some transplants too with broccoli, it's not too late to plant broccoli.
I was just going to say a couple more weeks. Traditionally, we say stop at February 1st, but
yeah.
But
what Mark on the on that yellow potato, the Yukon? Have you had good luck with that?
I have not.
I know we have it here.
Because I like reds better, so
I'm
always doing the red Pontiac on that, and whites are good too. I think that's one of your favorites, Kennebec. But if I was going to do a yellow, it would be the Yukon because they tend to be more smaller size.
210-308-8867. We have James on the line. James, how are we doing today?
Pretty good. We got about a 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch of rain out here.
Wow.
Outside of Maryland.
Rub it in.
Yeah,
Rub it in,
I know,
James.
it's pretty good. I was just mentioning it, Calvin. I don't remember us. Well, I live in Southtown, south of downtown, and I don't think I got a lot of rain.
Yeah.
So, bless your heart there, sir.
Yeah, man, it
I
rained
got
last night.
half an inch over the last couple of days, but
You guys are talking about covering crops with frost cloth. The tomato rows in my hoop house are about 45 foot long, and those tomatoes will be transplanted out and probably 18, 20 inches tall with cages on them. And then we'll get into the last part of March and April, and then sometimes we get freezing weather. So what you got to do is you got to cover that row with that insulate frost cloth. But you got to make sure that it touches the ground and it lays properly on the ground, because that's where you're getting the heat to keep your plants going.
yeah.
Right, so you make it a little air pocket, and then
And that's how this stuff works, and nobody ever talks about it. You know, if you go around and put this stuff around a plant, it might save it and it might not. But if you use the heat from the ground and drape it down properly and get your rocks on there and get it ready to go, you'll capture more heat that way, and nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah, that's the case. That's not just tomatoes.
Yeah,
that's the case.
Even
the cyclamen, it's
yeah, that's you are very correct on that. We just kind of imply that and move right along that's what we're trying to do, and we don't mention that. You are correct, sir.
so.
There's a lot of newbies out there that are not real sure.
So you have not you've been successful with that kind of a covering. You've been successful in maintaining that growth rate. So do they haven't hardened off when the freeze comes.
Well, you're inside a hoop house.
That air tunnel, huh?
You're inside a hoop house. You're just making a greenhouse inside of a greenhouse. But you got to make sure that your frost cloth is on the ground to where it can pick up the heat that you're utilizing to keep the plants from freezing.
Cool.
And that's the whole deal. You've got to make sure that cloth lays on the ground properly.
Well, it's certainly not unusual when you're in weather like this, when you're driving by gardens and everything. Quite often you'll see the insulate or other cloth blowing or flapping in the wind, or going up and down, and you say, well, that's kind of a lost cause.
Well, that's kind of useless. For that very reason that James mentioned.
Well, the plan is to capture that heat that's in the ground, and this ground is pretty hot. It's, if you remember, last couple of days it's been pretty warm.
I was going to say Friday it was still 74. You're right.
So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth for as far as I know, but it works on the tomatoes and.
Yeah.
James, how about any of the any of those naturalized or wildflowers? I mean, we had somebody ask about poppies and bluebonnets and larkspurs. Mark and I kind of agreed that you really don't cover them. I never think of covering pansies either, or calendula. How do you deal with those? Do you cover any of them, or do you just?
Are you growing any of those? You're growing mostly vegetables, so.
Yeah, I'm just an old vegetable hillbilly. Yeah. I don't. The only flower I grow is sunflowers, and I take them to town, and the women love them.
Yeah, the sunflowers won't even consider unless that it's hot sun bearing down.
No, we're not coming out. No way.
Boy, but once that sun, you talk about the warm soil, once that sun comes and the temperature warms up, the soil's warm, those sunflowers take off. Oh, man, and Milton had got a real affection for his sunflowers, and then he was subjected. He had the bordered patch butterflies laid their eggs on there and ate all the foliage off there. And I thought, gosh, that's the whole idea of Milton, is the sunflowers, they'll grow back. But no, man, he was a savage. He didn't want any of those bordered patch around there messing with his sunflowers.
Hey, James, I got a topic to ask because I was going to get into it a little bit later on, is seeds. You produce you use seeds to grow most of your vegetables out into either crop or transplants. Where do you get your seeds, and when do you do that?
I'm on my second round of tomatoes. What you got to do is you got to have transplants of all different kinds of sizes when it comes time. You start your first round of tomatoes the 1st of January, the second round on the 15th, and the third round on the end of the month. So you got 3 rounds coming in on the springtime, and one of them is going to work. That's what I do with tomatoes.
Yeah. When do you start planning and looking for seed catalog, or how you get your seed?
Well, old timers like me don't have computers. Everybody sends you a seed catalog. So if you've got time, you can go through them. And I started with Johnny's about 20-something years ago, Johnny's Seed, and they've got most of what I want.
Yeah.
They've got a real good pelletized beet seed, and they got a good pelletized carrot seed, and when you're using automatic seeders, push seeders, that helps a lot to get your seeds in the ground.
Well,
Johnny's is. Yeah.
Well, I was going to suggest that people, if they're not doing anything and they want to do something gardening, that this weekend would have been a really good weekend to sit down and look through all the seed catalogs. It's a little late, but, still a good time to do that. So
there's only one thing better. Well, the only thing better than that is sitting down and going through your seed catalog and real close to this wood stove over here.
You betcha.
With a little shot of Irish whiskey.
Well, I was going to say maybe an adult beverage of some type.
Hey, Malcolm Beck told me to plant potatoes in the full moon in February. You guys were talking about Irish potatoes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I've always said Malcolm always came to the right or correct decision. Now, he may have taken the serpentine route to get there, but I always followed his final decisions on that. So I may have shook my head sometimes and Malcolm always came to the right decision at the very end.
Well, it might warm up the middle of next month, and whenever the full moon is, and you get some digging done and some potatoes planted.
Well, you are correct. The Farmer's Almanac always says plant by the full moon with respect to potatoes. I don't know why, but it always does.
Well, the taters got so many diseases, we can't allow them on the farm with the tomatoes. No, we can't have potatoes out here. But that's the only thing. I used to grow potatoes, but not anymore.
Huh.
Well, considering your soil, and thinking about what Calvin had mentioned about soggy soils. Yeah, I could go along with that.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, James.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, James.
Stay warm.
Thank you, James. 210-308-8867 if you want to give us a call. 210-308-8867. Staying on the topic of, I guess, covering and keeping things warm. I mean, we're going to stay in this cold, close to freezing temperatures, looking until next weekend. I guess once the weather does start to warm up, when is it best to take off those coverings and those heat lamps?
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't take. That always motivates me to do a more thorough job when there's like 3 days. Now, if it gets longer than that gets, on some plants, that gets a little tougher. But 3 days, usually 3 or 4 days, you can usually cover them well, use a heat source, and then remove everything. Now, if we get another cold spell that comes after that, then it gets harder to be motivated to do it again and again.
But one of the most common mistakes is leaving it on. And our temperatures can rise dramatically, particularly if we have sunlight. And sometimes that's not so good. So we want to, if the temperature is going to get into high 40s, 50s, that we want to get that.
And that's one of the advantages of the insulate is that not as much heating storage. It's not like a greenhouse. It just always amazes me that an hour after the sun comes out, the greenhouse, even when it's like 32 degrees out in the air, the greenhouse is heated up, and you gotta.
And that's where that experience comes in. That those greenhouses will, from my perspective, those greenhouses can heat up dramatically. And you want to make sure that
you can go from get some freeze damage in the morning to heat damage
32 in the morning to 82 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So you have to be careful.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a quick break. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. We're going to be right back with Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Welcome back to Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Alex Escobar here with Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. Give us a call at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867. Keep glancing at the weather. It looks like the rain keeps getting pushed further and further back up until the night. I know we've always talked about watering and keeping things, keep watering right before big freezes, but with the rain coming right when the weather's freezing, is that going to be detrimental or is that going to cause any issues?
Well, usually it says don't water the couple hours before or the day before or the night before rather. You want to do it about 2 to 3 days ahead of time, and have it on a regular plan,
right?
Well watered, management plan. That's much better than trying to water it
the last minute.
Quite often that late watering doesn't hurt anything, but it doesn't. I mean, people, gardeners, will think that it's going to save everything from frozen freeze damage, but of course it doesn't. That's quite an elaborate process. If you can keep a water spray on plants. Peach orchards, they quite often will do that, but the water spray's got to start before the freeze, and it's got to keep going until after the freeze if you're going to, because that has enough calories, heat there to keep the water from freezing, and that's the whole impact they're trying to accomplish. But if you don't have that complete package, it's not. If you quit too early, it's not going to protect the plants the way you want it to. But it is I guess it helps feel you're doing something when you do water like that. Yeah. And I don't think you want them. You certainly don't want them dried out. But just like Mark says, the key there is a regular watering program that's up to date, and then that maximizes the plant's ability to resist the cold weather. Doesn't always work because if there's enough cold weather, even a well-watered plant is going to be affected by the cold. So what are you going to do next on your filming? You say you did.
Well, yeah. Yesterday we did 2 great videos. One was a design video, and we were looking at design over in Beacon Hill. That landscape designer, I just met him. He's a very young fellow. He obviously knows a great many things because he worked at the Botanical Gardens, and he heard my name mentioned quite often. So he knows a lot of things, and he had excellent design over in Beacon Hill, and we went over some of the design principles and plants used for a modern, drought-tolerant landscape that had a lot of pollinator plants as well. And then we went over to Confluence Park, and we did a video with my good friend Lee Marlowe, who is the senior ecologist for the San Antonio River Authority. We talked about pruning trees, pruning perennials, and then we were planting some wildflowers. And we said in the video, it says it's never too late to plant wildflowers, but yeah, the best time is during the dormant season, November, December, January. So the next one.
Did Lee offer anything about the monarch situation, or?
No, but we have talked in the past, and she has said, we have a lot of milkweed. Natural milkweed. We always can use more, but we really need the pollinators, the pollinating plants. So like we have here at Milberger's, we have a lot of the native perennial, and that's what we really need is more of those pollinators, not only for monarchs but for all butterflies. She has said that. She didn't mention that yesterday, but she has said that to me in the past.
Yeah, the one of the things that we're going to try to do these classes, which we're going to start the classes in March 21st and 28th, and then those are the one at Milberger's and then the one at the Education Resource Center. Then we also have a class at Floresville, sponsored by the Wilson County Master Gardeners, and that'll be on a Thursday evening. That's at 6 p.m. And then the class at New Braunfels will be on May 2nd. I believe that's Saturday, May 2nd or May 3rd. May 2nd.
Yes, May 2nd.
Okay, and then. But what we're going to do, we usually gave everybody two germinated milkweed plants. We're going to try and have one germinated milkweed plant from one of the 6 native plants that we have targeted. But we're also going to see if we can't come up with a small number of seeds for folks that want them, but stratified seeds. So we'll move them from the refrigeration to passing them out at the class.
And there's a method to this madness, a reason behind this madness.
That's right. Is because and the estimate is that about 50% of the seeds germinate, and only about 10% are successfully transplanted. So it doesn't do you much good if they don't live the transplanting. So we're gonna see if we can raise that percentage. And our friends at Douglas King Seed Company and Native American Seed and Wild Seed Farms.
It's the one I always forget. That's why I remember.
They think that's the best way to do it is seed directly rather than try to transplant.
And the irony, Alex, on this always is what is one of the hardest plants to get rid of from a farmer's perspective?
What is it?
Is milkweed.
Oh, really?
and we're finding out it's really hard to get going. But yeah.
And and among other issues that it'd be good if we could figure out, I'd like to see more research results on the tropical milkweed to make sure that, because it's so easy to grow, it's so attractive, and the butterflies love it, to see if it maybe it's less of a threat than some of the researchers contend. And of course, we sometimes suspect that folks that are native plant advocates are inclined to find negative things about exotic plants.
So that's what I'm smiling, because yes, I can almost hear it from the native plant enthusiasts.
Yeah.
It's like, no, never a tropical milkweed. But I just, there's so many benefits that you and I have seen. The monarchs love it. It blooms so long. It's so attractive in the landscape. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I'd like to learn about a little bit more. The other question I have is on the tropical milkweed. My understanding is native in the Caribbean, and is it native? Is it growing in the in the Mexican wintering grounds and things like that? And I wonder about the threat to the monarchs. If there is more of a threat to the tropical growing here in central Texas than it would be to it growing in the tropical areas or in the wintering areas.
Yeah. So I remember from reading Monica's book that they opened. What's the town near Monterey? Starts with an S. I can't remember. Anyway, they also Theo. They always expect monarchs at a certain time when, and I think she was saying the tropical milkweed was blooming in Saltillo, but I can't remember the story on that. But something was timed with the arrival of the monarchs. It may have been goldenrod. I don't know, but I was wondered when you brought that up a couple weeks ago. That I was thinking about that. Is there a lot of milkweed in Mexico? And then what is it? Is it tropical? Or is it a native one? I'm not sure. If anybody knows, they can call us up and tell me. But you had mentioned that prior, and I got to thinking about that I wonder if it's tropical milkweed. It is an extension from the Caribbean, because there's a lot of Caribbean plants that grow well in northern Mexico. And
of course, to explain that further for the listeners out there, is that what Mark and I are talking about, one of the claims for tropical milkweed is that it is a host for a parasite that affects the monarchs, and that it affects the monarchs more the longer that the native milkweed is blooming, and and it's got foliage and everything. And so you know, the question about the wintering grounds would be, well, doesn't the milkweed on the wintering ground or in the Caribbean where it's the native plant, doesn't it grow all year? Mm-hmm. And so then the parasite would be very, supposedly, if that the initial research conclusion is that, then that would be that the parasite population should be higher in the wintering ground area or in the Caribbean than it is in the Central Texas area. So a lot of great questions to address, and of course one of the things the reason we're interested in clarifying the value of tropical milkweed is that it is so much easier to grow. The germination rate is high, and the transplant rate is high, and it can stays blooming long into, you know. Now, of course, this cool weather has hit it, but you know, lasted until February. The native milkweeds, the foliage was and the blooms are long gone. 6 weeks or 2 months ago. But who was telling us? Oh, I guess it was Lulu and some of the other gardeners telling us that they've still got monarchs, caterpillars hatching on their tropical milkweed, which, you know, of course they're doomed if they're going to try to make a flight to Mexico in this kind of weather. But such are the complications of a population of lake monarchs that relies on migration and the fact that every time they lay a set of eggs, the parents die, and so they rely on the new generation every time, and which means in the typical year at least 4 generations, which makes them subject to weather conditions, very, very subject to weather conditions.
It's a mystery how they get from Canada to Mexico.
Oh, God,
it's amazing.
It's a mystery.
All right. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. We're going to take one more break for today. We'll be right back with Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Welcome back to Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Alex Escobar with Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. Just a couple things here at Milberger's and at the Resource Center next month, February 21st, we'll be hosting the Rodeo Tomatoes classes hosted by Calvin Finch. The first one's February 21st. To sign up for that class, it is the number 210-497-3760. The class on the following Saturday, February 28th, is at the Resource Center. The number to call is 210-382-4455. Those classes are filling up. Calvin just had a call during the break to sign up for those classes.
So we have 16 for the class here.
Yeah, and then 5 for the class on the 28th. And everybody that pre-registers by calling in will get a free potted up pole big rodeo tomato.
That's POLBIG.
Yeah.
Pole big.
And it's a determinate tomato, which means that it goes to full size quickly and then concentrates on setting fruit, so that you'll be harvesting your fruit by the end of June, and then in July you'll be planting a new crop for the fall. It's quite a situation, because you're trying to beat the heat on this spring crop, and then in the fall you're trying to beat the cold, So that's the
Yeah,
good and the bad news.
2 separate seasons we have here in San Antonio for growing tomatoes.
And that's why the old heirloom tomatoes, as neat as they are in the north, don't work as well as here in this area.
Absolutely. So please sign up. Those classes are filling up. But give us a call here on the show, 210-308-8867. We have Bert on the line. Bert, thank you for holding. How are we doing?
I'm actually quite toasty this day. How are you all? You all outside on the pavilion?
Oh no, we decided to come inside begrudgingly, but we're holding up in here.
We whipped out.
Hey, well, look, I got my snivel gear out too. That's what we called it in the Army, snivel gear. And I'd like to ask Calvin one thing. You know what? When I grew milkweed in Louisiana, you know what was the most attracted butterflies to it was the long-tailed swallow.
I'm having trouble hearing, Bert. Say again.
It was a swallowtail. It was a giant swallowtail.
Oh, yeah?
More attracted to milkweed.
When did you see that?
It was probably 10 years ago when I last lived in Louisiana.
Okay. I thought you were seeing it now, and I said, gosh, we haven't.
No. I was just saying those were the ones that seemed to be more attracted to the tropical milkweed that grew in the New Orleans area.
Yeah, but they were probably going for the flowers or getting the nectar.
They do love, all the butterflies and the pollinators seem to love that tropical milkweed nectar. So it's useful for that reason too.
Yeah, and I love seeing them because I'd never seen a butterfly that large in my life until I grew the milkweed down there. You know, it was just I was like an infant. I just gaze at them and just like, oh my, look at that beautiful thing flying around.
Well, when we're sitting on the porch in the summertime, there's nothing more spectacular than the giant swallowtail and tiger swallowtail and the black swallowtail. I mean, just coming through the garden, and they move kind of fast, and I always have to rely on Calvin, saying, "Is that a tiger or a giant? Is that a tiger or a giant?" And so, they are beautiful. All swallows are beautiful.
And one other thing, it's like I know a lot of people do not like moths, but I also saw at the same time frame, it was over a couple of years, I mean by time frame, I saw a luna moth.
Yeah.
And it was a giant, the same size as, almost the same size as the giant swallowtail.
Right. I'm laughing because it sounded like you said you liked mobs. And I knew what you were saying. I know you were saying moths, but it just struck me funny because all of a sudden I thought I heard you. You like mobs.
Well, they do.
So yeah, but I knew you were saying moths. So
yeah, Bert. We then in the suggested Christmas list for gardeners, we mentioned the new publication about the moths because there's 15 times as many species of moths as there are butterflies. And some of them are, just like you mentioned, are pretty spectacular in the color and of course we don't know as much about moths as we do butterflies for some reason.
Well,
I guess partly because
I think
action at night. But.
Well, yeah, and that's what I do. I have a white light that I keep out on let's use the southern term, the veranda. And I like to go watch them and count them. Around here, they're very small, and I think they got a bad rep for being the wool moths. I don't think all moths are detrimental. Am I correct on that aspect?
Well, we had
some that have been detrimental for crops and things like that. So that's why I think they got the bad name. Plus, you are correct. Calvin's correct. They're mostly nocturnal, so we just don't see them.
You know, we've even sitting on the porch, though, we have seen. We saw one of those huge moths.
I can't remember if it was a Luna or a hawk moth, it was huge.
And then we saw hawk moth that Milton was admiring, and he was talking about how beautiful it was, and And the next thing we knew, one of the grackles grabbed them and ate it.
Or it was a grackle or mockingbird. The story changes, but yeah, it was like in mid-flight.
Well, I haven't seen any grackles around here because I know what a grackle is different from a blackbird. But I do love.
Yes,
I know a lot of people. I do know a lot of people hate when the Mexican long-tailed blackbirds come up here. I love their singing. Maybe I just march to the beat of a different drummer.
I believe you do. I remember the first morning in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, and the first thing I heard was, and I'm like, oh, those are those grackles. So I've never had a good relationship with them. But I can see what you're saying is, they are a beautiful bird, frankly, if they just don't open their mouth.
And James, it was nice to hear your report if you're still listening. But the question that I called for was, all right, I put in about 100 sets of green onions, and I already got some 6 inches high, and I put some garlic in, and they're just starting to sprout. Now, do I have to cover them up, or is there natural fluid liquids, the antifreeze that they have in them, enough that I don't have to bother with it this weekend?
I never bother with them. You'll see some damage on the foliage if it's a severe freeze, but they quickly recover. So
yeah, on the tippy tips, you
okay, then
might see them.
I'm going to cover the garlic because they're just busting forth from the clove itself. So I'll even put them under the. And Calvin, you got me beat on the greenhouse this year because the tarps that are the tarps that I got to turn the patio into a greenhouse, I had them measured from the last space that I lived in, and they don't quite cover. So you got me on that. I succeed.
Bert, when you pick your varieties on the onions, which ones do you pick?
Whatever comes, I found out a good thing. It's like I did a test, a little experiment, and whatever comes from the store, I planted. So I was just like, okay, 3 months ago, I said I'm going to just stick this bunch into a pot of soil, and then I'm going to put this one in the fridge like I do in a glass of water, so that they keep nourished while they're in there till I eat them. And the ones that I put in the soil were very piquant. I mean, as opposed to the ones that I put in the refrigerator, they were quite bland. They still had an oniony taste, but the ones that I put in the soil and left outside were very piquant and hot. I was just amazed. So that's what I do. I suggest to everybody, just cut the whites off and stick them in soil.
Well, I would have bet even money that you would have said Red Creole, but that's the one that you planted.
Well, that's like with the garlic. My favorite garlic is that red stripe. I think it's an Italian garlic, and it's a very hot one. Mm-hmm. And Mark, I know you come from up north, and excuse me, and I'm not being mean or rude, Alex. You didn't get the memo that there are 2 Berts.
There's 2 Berts.
Yeah. So there's my Bert in Michigan and Bert from, where are you from again?
Chalamet. From Louisiana. But I was neighbors on that,
Yeah. I love talking to you, Bert. So it's great. So.
Well, then you're from up north, aren't you, Mark? And yes, I know I got to get off.
I'm from Western Michigan.
Okay, then who did the 7 ponds experiment back in the 70s and 80s for water purification? I've been looking that up all week and I can't find it.
7 ponds? Now, are we talking from sewage, raw sewage, and then the 7 ponds coming down? The water flowing through each one? I'm stalling for time for memory, so I'm going to have to say somewhere around Ypsilanti or something like that. Or was it on the side? Yeah. It may have been from Michigan State in a place that's south of Kalamazoo called the Kellogg Center.
Oh, yeah, that's where Dr. Kellogg had his, they called it a sanatorium.
Yeah, well, this is money from the foundation after he passed. So it's a big center for science, for horticulture and forestry.
Well, it's like, look, we all live life, we share it, and I say I'm thankful for it, and I'm thankful for having you guys in this life. And you answered, not to mention, and Calvin, I call Jerry the old cranky one.
You found what?
He calls Jerry the you and me and the old cranky one.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is on this.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go. And Alex, just remember when, please, I'm not being critical or anything. It's like there's what we can say there's Great Northern Bert, because that's how I refer to him. And
Northern,
that's a
okay.
good one, too.
And then
All right. Well, stay warm.
Well, I am. I'm going to go get some antifreeze for the Bert for his Sonoran coffee for tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Bert.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. 210-308-8867. Not sure if we'll have time for another call, but just a reminder, 210-308-8867. It's going to be cold for the rest of this weekend.
I don't know if you were here, but Peter was talking to Calvin and I, and he said, we will be here. We will be on the air tomorrow.
Yes, we will.
From Millburgers. It may just be me, you, and Calvin, and Peter. We may be the only ones here. However, we will be open at 12.
Yes, Millburgers will be open at 12 tomorrow. Rain, shine, sleet. I don't think there's any snow, but
Yeah, and if you get the copy of the Express News and look at the opportunity for the rodeo tomato class, and decide if you want to enroll or give us a call which class suits you the best. And of course, you'll get if you pre-enroll, you'll get the free potted up tomato.
and there's 35 spots for each class, correct? 35 spots for each class?
Yes.
Yes.
And you can attend the class even if you're not one of the first 35, but if you want an example of the potted up tomato, then you want to go ahead and pre-register. But we got this morning when we started the show, we had 16 enrolled for the 21st class, and now we got 5 for the second class on the 28th too, over there in the Education Resource Center.
I'm sure that number will change by tomorrow, though.
Oh gosh, should be.
It should. Well, thank you again. Stay warm out there. We will see you tomorrow with Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. This is Alex Escobar and Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. We'll see you then.